Hey everybody, welcome back to the replay. I am Dru Stew, and I'm sitting here with the 8-time world champion Speed Williams. Speed, we're down here to the final night. We've been talking about it. We're going to get into it here in a second. But it is a pretty unique game that we're playing, kind of a little bit of a chess match going into this final round of the team roping.
Yes, sir. There's many different scenarios that can unfold, but T. Wade and Wesley control their own destiny, and it's a good feeling to be in that position. Few of my world titles come down to one cow having to catch, but I think if you had T. Wade on the screen right now, he would tell you he'd rather have to be forward than have to just go qualify on this steer in a clean run for a world title. That's his weakness.
Yeah.
What he does really good is go fast.
Yeah.
Last night's run, level of difficulty was very high. What he did, horse was going left. He reached, stuck, and made a great run. Now the scenario changes today. If he does that and misses, it looks really, really bad. If he does that and catches, looks really good. Where all he has to do is go make the run they made in the 8th round.
Mm-hmm.
A good, smooth, clean run wins a world title today. And I can promise you he hasn't slept real well running that cow over and over again, because a few of my world titles come down to just a qualified run.
Man, the hardest thing to do is just go catch him, isn't it?
You know, it all comes down to basics and fundamentals and the horse that you're riding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's one of the things that me and Rich practiced all the time was high teamer, 11 seconds to win a world title. And one of our scenarios come down to we had a steer that had 3 no times on it. Had took every team out of the average, and a barrier didn't affect us. Back then we had 3 loops. If we get a qualified time, we get a world title. I run at the barrier, got out, roped him in 2 swings, got a deep neck, brisket, big black cow, jumping, wild, bouncing around the arena. Rich went about 6-7 hops, roped 2 feet and face. We're riding out the arena. He goes, man, I could have used a little more help. I said, you had 50 seconds and 2 loops. I was going to make sure I caught him. I wasn't going for the neck, but we was going deep for the horns.
Yeah.
You tell me that you got 50 seconds and 2 loops to get a leg. I felt pretty confident in that.
Felt pretty good about that. Well, before we get into talking about some of the things that are going on tonight and watching some of those past steers that come up, let's go ahead and take a look at right here. Last night, round number 9 of the NFR, T. Wade, Wesley Thorpe were 3.5. Got him another piece of the action, $30,000 check. Tanner and Patrick, glad to see them coming back in here, get a piece of it. Ren Richard, Jeremy Bueller, 3-6, tie for 2nd and 3rd last night. Jake Cooper-Clay, Tyler Worley with a 370, Clint Summers and Jake Long. Speed, I've got to brag on Clint Summers a little bit this year. Man, what a great NFR showing he's had in the rounds. I mean, he came out and won those, he won 4 rounds at the beginning of the week, and then just to stick right here, him and Jake amongst. So I'm pretty proud of that kid.
He's roped really good. You know, he's a healer that converted.
I know. And one of you boys, isn't he?
From down south.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and let's get into the aggregate right here. This is what we're talking about. You and I were talking about this before we flipped the cameras on. Derek Begay and Coulter Todd, the only team right now with 9 of them down.
And the Cowboy come out in Derek Begay to get that illegal head catch off. You know, that really showed his horsemanship skills and what he was capable of doing and dragging all them bulls for the PBR. You know, really showed being able to get in there and get that rope legal. But those guys are cowboys. I mean, there's a lot of people that say they're a cowboy. Those 2 are cowboys.
They are cowboys, 100%. 100%. Now, with them right now, as we take a look at these numbers, there's 3 guys that have caught 8. But what happens if those guys catch 9? If those 3 guys from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th catch, and Coulter and Todd bobble tonight,
they drop fourth in the average.
They go from leading the average to 4th in the average right now in 1 steer.
I am pretty sure they're going to roll the dice and make T. Wade and Wesley have to catch their cow. I mean, they have been on a fairy tale journey. He drug Coulter Todd out of the house. Coulter Todd did not want a rodeo back when he was heading when I rodeoed. And Colter, if you got him on here, he's got some funny stories.
Oh, I bet.
Bear hunting in the woods, roping a bear. The boy is, you don't really know it, but if you get him on stage, he's kind of a comedian.
He's funny. Chelsea was showing me a bunch of videos. She said, like, he's just gold because he is funny all the time. And you
real.
wouldn't know it. Yeah.
Now, he's not like Coleman, but right there with Coleman.
Right. All right, so the header world standings right now. T. Wade, he's leading at 257. Clint sitting second after a great NFR showing. Andrew Warden, their third. Nelson Wyatt fourth. Boy, Nelson Wyatt roped good this week. Ren Richard down there at fifth. Let's go take a look at the healer world standings right now. Wesley Thorpe is on top. Jake Long is second. Bud's in there at third. Coulter with $200,592 is fourth. Jeremy Bueller is fifth. All right, Speed. They're talking about there's no eliminator pin in the team roping or anything like that, but they're talking that this is the pen of steers that has the most difficult ones to get by.
There's a few in there that really are not easy to go catch. There's always steers in every pen that are some slow up at the end of the week. These steers have had 3 runs already. You always try to put the strongest pin in to go 4 times. But, you know, Caleb and Junior's first cow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who run him later on in the week, but he was not good in the first round. You got a couple steers in there that level of difficulty are high. But, you know, it comes down to last round, my first year, me and Rich drawed the poodle on our 9th and 10th cow. We won the round, both rounds, just went and caught rope, used our horse. So much of it will come into play on who draws what tonight. But if Tyler and Wesley drop the ball, the math equation for these other guys becomes very complicated.
Very complicated.
That's why I believe Coulter and Derek are going to roll the dice and try to win something in the round to give this storybook ending to make Tyler and Wesley have to catch.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
There's a lot of factors that go on to it. But this is what you dream about.
Right.
To back in there, 10th round, qualified, clean run, you walk out of the arena world champion.
Man, that's the deal. So you and I were talking here a minute ago that those years that you came here and it was up to the 9th round, it was kind of nice.
I won a lot of 9th rounds. I'm not going to talk about the first round today's, but the 9th round was my first 3 rounds. You didn't know for sure what the steer's done.
Mm-hmm.
But the 9th round, you knew what you were doing and you rolled the dice so that the last round was a little easier to deal with, and you want to give yourself an opportunity. But the one thing I want to commend the team ropers and Bobby Joe Hill, they've really done a great job of preparing the steers, having the steers leave the chute. Mm-hmm. And that is the number one thing in the team roping. You know, back in the old days, they brought them here dead fresh.
Really?
Never been roped before. And we got to put 1 run on them in that building.
I did not know that. They were dead fresh.
Fresh. My year of healing, when I 1988, never been turned.
I had no idea that's how they did that. Holy
dead
smoke.
Fresh in this building. And that's why Jake and Clay dominated for so long. They were so good at that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dead fresh.
That's a whole other level.
They hit, splatter, wild, big.
Throw their head up to the crowd. I mean, I can't imagine everything that goes into that.
These steers are set up to be fast.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made some great runs. It's been fun watching run after run, and the headers, you know, they all can bring it over top of the chute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what, let's take a look before we get into those, because we've got 3 runs of those steers that might be a little questionable. We'll take a look at those in a minute. But right now, we're going to go back to those top 5 guys, the top 5 teams that we're talking about. We're going to watch their runs from round 8 and 9. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we've got Luke and Hunter is going to be the first run we're going to watch here. They'll be back to back.
Luke's been in this position before for the average. Now, Luke does not do my man Hunter very good right here. He kind of gives up pulling the cow, drifts down the arena, but gets him caught right here. If you see the gray, don't come back up the wall the best on the first one. This time, Hunter earned it right there. Mm-hmm. Luke got out and turned them all, but Luke's done a good job, if you look throughout history here, of getting out and catching a lot of cows at the national finals. Luke has done a great job of that.
Yeah, that's kind of his deal, though, isn't it, Speed? I mean, Luke's always been that guy that's going to run to the center of the pen and catch him. So here's that first one again.
But right here, he didn't do a good job right there of keeping pulling the cow.
Boy, he didn't, did he?
No.
He came down the pin right there.
Very easily, steer could have got out of the loop on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter's really done a great job of roping, holding his hand up there and making everything come tight. But as far as getting out and roping the horns, Luke has done a great job. Gray's a little weak on the wall there.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, slow it down even more. Slow it down. I want to watch this first when it comes back to this next one. I want to watch this so we can really see what Speed's talking about right here.
He does a real good job of just making sure the steer starts and ropes the cow around the horns. But when he takes a halt right here, the gray gives up a little bit right here, and this is a nemesis for a lot of heelers when that cow drifts down the arena to the right. Level of difficulty on this heel shot is high. Pretty high.
Yeah, gives his head back. You see that when he was in there, that steer was still angling down here to the bottom right side of the TV. So you can go ahead and put her back up. And let's go ahead and go to the next one. All right, here we go. Here's Derek and Coulter. This is their 8th round right here. This is the one you were talking about.
Not a very good loop. Derek, that's one of the few times he was a little bit slow swing there. But the cowboy right here, riding around, getting it pulled on, he did not pull his slack when he throwed a bad loop and left it kind of loose on there where when he got there, but the loop off to the right, come around, hickey the left horn, and he got up there. And very fortunate at the back end of the arena right here, Coulter done what is very important. People don't realize Coulter didn't let the cow go right. Coulter lets the steer go right.
Down right there.
It's
done. Over. Yep.
But Coulter, I mean, they worked as a team right there of Coulter protecting the right. But see, Coulter's a header. He knows that cow goes the right, we're done.
Yep.
But then right here, heeling the steer takes a wild hop right there and heels him down. Now, this one, Derek rings the start, runs close. And for those of you that don't know, back in the day, this was not Derek's style. Derek was wild. Whenever he first come on the scenes, he was one of the few guys wherever I was at, I would go climb over the fence to watch Derek Begay go because he was on a paint horse that I would not even practice on.
Yeah.
That horse moved going to the lane, going to the chute, go in different directions, go right around the pulley and face.
Yeah.
And I never knew the paint was that good of a horse till he rode him at Cheyenne. Horse stood below. The paint could run up there and rope. I rode over and asked him, I said, I had no idea that your horse was that good. He said, yeah, I don't ride him very good. I throwed fast on him a lot. He just ducks.
He just ducks.
But Derek is a cowboy.
There was this is years ago when he was riding the paint. I was doing some interviews down at the Thomas Mack, down in the tunnel there, and I can't remember what the deal was, but they drew a steer that didn't start real hard and made his horse rear up so he didn't break the barrier. And I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, that's just what I needed to do. So I just made him rear up a little bit, and it got me out. Like, just cowboy stuff, 100% cowboy.
I wish we had a video one time at Albuquerque, New Mexico. Him and Caesar, he stuck one so fast, that paint ducked so hard. And I don't remember if Caesar bobbled his dally or Derek got hung up in the wall, but one of the fastest head loops, heel shots, like kind of like Coleman's and Logan's the other day. Just an amazing run. But Derek's really changed his game from being just over the top duck. And that really what comes down to Thomas and Mack, it's a math equation. Those people that want to reach and get a lot of loop out really struggle because you have no momentum with the cow. But, you know, it gets them to the finals. But Drigger's the same way. I've had a lot of conversation with Driggers. Now he goes and makes the run, When we got to use our ability, we use our ability. But you've got to be able, in the Thomas and Mack, is to go one more jump and set it up and be fast.
Yep. All right, let's go down to Andrew and Buddy. This is round 8.
Man, Andrew really showed some skill right there, sticking, pushing. Cal's got a great corner. You know, that when it happened, I like, buddy, you could have got flagged out right there just a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's healing a steer. Now, this round didn't affect him. You know, this is the one he broke the barrier on. Steer didn't start.
Yep.
You know, I love the fact that they were running at it a little bit, but the steer didn't start. And that was the nemesis in the old days. Didn't start and run hard. But, you know, if they get out and catch that cow clean, we have a total different conversation today about them having a chance to win a world title.
That run right there. No
Without
kidding.
breaking the barrier and placing in the round,
changes everything.
changes everything. Dropped them down in the average. But they were trying to win a world title and put themselves in a position for the last performance.
Yep, yep. All right, let's go down to Clint and Jake.
Man, those guys started out house of fire.
House of fire. Uh-huh.
Now, Jake Long, level of difficulty on this heel shot's pretty high. Clint kind of misses the barrier just a little bit, but when this cow comes around right there, he kind of just fights his head. If you watch it right there when Jake throws it down, he gets a bonus leg. Watch this. Right here. See how his rope
Oh,
when
he
it
sure
hit
did, didn't he?
for just a second?
Yep. Yep. Sure enough.
But Jake Long throwing fast in this situation. I've had him at the house before when him and Coleman was roping together a lot. And when I said high teamer 11 seconds, he's like, man, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Let's be 3, let's be 4. If
That's-
I miss being 11, it makes me look stupid. I said, well, you've got to learn to ride through and catch.
Yeah.
But Coleman and Jake both were phenomenal with their rope. Their horsemanship is getting better. And that's the name of the game in the Thomas and Mack, to be able to throw fast. But if you got to go through there and take one more swing,
Yep.
you got to be able to catch the cow.
Catch the cow. You see there where this is round 9 right here. It'll come back around. And Chris, I want you to slow it down when we get back to their first round and watch what happens to Clint right here. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Misses his wrap right there, has to double grab, doesn't he, Speed? Gets a lot of rope out there.
Gets a lot of rope, and he's just holding on for dear life.
Dear
up on
life.
the saddle horn, not to let it go. And man, Jake's still going to catch this cow a lot of times. Let's see what his loop does right here. I love the pusher. He's putting some effort to get out of there and push the cow out. I like it when they're leaning forward trying to get down, but Jake's gets a little bit to the inside right there. But play it back just a hair.
Can you play that back, Chris? Just
Right
pull it,
when
just
Jake's-
slide it back.
Right when
Look-
Jake's rope hits the legs. Does the tail foul his rope a hair? So that steer was supposed to turn a little earlier. That's
Yep.
where Jake was riding to. But look when this rope's coming in right there. See that right there?
Oh, sure
Back
enough.
It up.
Yep.
Back it up.
Slide it
one
back
frame.
just a little bit, Chris. Just grab your playhead and slide it back.
People
Just there we go.
don't realize how many times a tail. I've had this conversation with Clay, Jade, and Rich, and you know they were first didn't believe a heel rope would be affected that much by a tail, but when you see it, see that rope coming in,
Just stops it from.
it fouls it going down. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little late to get down there in front of the left leg, but those tails have a lot of factors on a heel rope going under a cow.
Sure.
Now, when people come to the house for lessons and I show them that, then they go home, they got another excuse. Tail got me.
No, the tail got me.
Tail
Yeah.
got me.
All right. We'll watch this one more time. Then we'll go to T. Wade and Wes. Round 8. Here we go.
This was the good run. Like, great start. Rings it out of there.
Oh,
comes around.
man.
But if you see, Tyler's horse isn't pulling real good right there. He's almost going sideways. That got him in the round previous right here. But, like, Tyler's horse, see how he's not pulling the cow right there very good, but he gets faced fast. If you look at the clock, where they
2:08.
are when they're faced, great run.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Great start. Andrew and Ward and Buddy, by that little string, changes our whole conversation today for these guys.
Yeah.
That start.
Another good run right here.
Now, this one was a little more difficult. If you watch when Tyler's throwing his rope, his horse is going left. He pulls up just a little bit. No, that's the other one.
Yeah, that's that first one.
Again, the big issue there is Tyler's horse isn't pulling the cow, keeping the cow going. Get out, hang it on him. Cow fights his head, takes a wild hop. I thought Wesley done a great job getting around there and heeling the steer. You know, when they rode out of the arena, when Wesley missed, I sent Wesley a text. I said, Tyler didn't move that steer. His horse quit pulling on you. Don't fight it. Don't let that run beat you up too bad. And after he watched the video, he seen what I was talking about. But the biggest change in Tyler's roping is his first swing. You know, I had him on the speed trainer a few years ago over there, and he wants to go from the hip and a big swing. It works when you got to see tail to the pin, hip to the pin. I said, man, it happens too fast. You can't get that gun around fast enough. And he's really changed his first swing, and where he's got his swing off and throwing when the barrier rope pulls. You know, Tyler has a lot of ability with his rope. Today, it's not about his ability with his rope. He just has to get out, get it on the horns, turn the cow, and give Wesley a chance.
And catch him. All right, so we'll let this run play through, and then we're going to get talking about the steer pen. So going back for those people that may have just walked up here, we're coming into round 10 where they've seen these cattle. Patrick was here yesterday. We were talking about it. This is the pen of steers that has some steers that are a little trickier. I don't want to call them eliminators. We're not doing any of that because these guys rope so good, but there are some trickier steers in this pen. That draw comes out at what, 4:30, 4:15?
Hour and a half before the perf.
Hour and a half before the perf. Talk to me about that in your years past, Speed, when you guys are just, you know tell me about that.
That plays so much into the game plan of today. What does Culture draw? What do Andrew and Buddy draw? You know, Andrew and Buddy win the round today. Somebody messes up, they move up in the average. There's so many factors involved. There's steers in here that are easy to go make the run we work on. If that steer doesn't start, goes left or goes right, you know, which round is it the steer goes hard right? Is that in this pen?
Yeah. So you guys are quick flipping. Like, hey, man, I got to call Coleman or whoever had those steers and be like, hey.
Well, when I rodeo, my wife filmed them all, so we'd have them all beforehand, after, and go through and watch them all go. But so much of today's happens today. Now, let's look at it. Be real. If T-Wade misses this cow today, history, he's going to be known as the one that missed when all he had to do is catch.
Yeah.
And that's why T-Wade said, I'd rather have to be 3 to win the world title than be 6. Because if you miss, you drop the ball for a world title, you and your partner. There is so much pressure
I can't imagine.
on this cow to go make a clean run.
To just go make a clean run.
And then just draw the cow that's easy. Draw the cow that don't start and go left. Oh,
buddy.
The math gets complicated.
Oh, buddy. Okay, so here's what we've got. This is Paul and Eric. This is one of those steers.
He don't handle very good.
Oh, this is one of those steers.
He comes out of there running.
Feet this far apart.
And a leg affects him in the average. Drops him down.
So this steer.
And he's got little high horns. Can he easily come back off the right horn?
There's nothing fun about that one.
Next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. All right,
steer didn't turn, didn't start. Bad start, and that leaking to the left is a huge factor, because you get one go over the left, you miss the barrier a little bit, then it becomes really, really difficult. That, I don't want that steer.
You don't want that steer.
I don't want the steer that don't start. You've got to score, and then he's angling left, because now if you watch, slow it down right there.
Slow it down.
You see he figure eighted the nose for just a second?
Almost, yeah.
No, it went on a figure 8 and come off. Because the angle that you're at when that cow comes left, if you throw a perfect loop, it's a trick on the dummy to rope figure 8 the nose. That's the angle.
There it is right there, yeah.
That's the position we are in, so you got to be very precise on that loop. But that steer that don't start and go left, And is he going to go left harder this time?
Yeah. And these are the steers that are in the draw tonight. And he's just fighting it the whole time right there. Just fighting it. All right, here we go.
Well, T-Wade and Wesley won't have this cow.
Oh, boy.
But that's the cow. Watch Tyler. He didn't keep pulling
Quits
the
him
cow.
right there, doesn't
the
he?
cow quits and goes that way. So a little of that one was on Tyler. But play it to the start. Steer didn't really leave the chute that good either. I mean, he gets it on him, but right here, that steer's fighting his head, but he gets loose. Tyler quits pulling him. Wesley knows what he just done to himself right there.
Well, those three are going to be in there tonight, and they could very well.
What about Drigger's first one?
Did we get Drigger's first one? I don't think we got it.
Boy, that steer did not handle good. And I don't know that wasn't Drigger's first one right there.
Really?
Don't remember. I remember he had a little spot on him. But, you know, we got to stay away from those. They won't be able to have that cow because you can't run the same steer twice.
One. Okay.
Redraw. But, man, I look for T-Wade to come across the line and be aggressive. That's his strong suit. That's what got him here. But, man, if you miss, Derek Begay just let off a little bit on his loop that he went over. You got to back in there and have confidence and work on what's brought you here. But the difference is having a horse that'll go to the cow, stay down rope. And that was one of the things I worked on all the time was having different styles. I mimicked everybody that went before me in their career. I could do them all. Different situations present different math equations. You know, me and Rich are very fortunate. Whenever I did miss the first one, going fast was my strong suit. Going and catching, you know, it's funny. The only year I ever won the average here is the year Rich roped 5 legs. You know, in all the other years, he didn't rope 5 legs. One year he roped 5 legs.
You're kidding me.
But I got out and caught all 10.
Yeah. I'll be danged.
We won a world title that way one time, but the rest of the time, but my partner was a little bit emotional at the end of that week.
I bet.
Because he hadn't roped many legs at all.
Yeah. Is that all the times you guys won the average?
Once.
Are you
Man,
kidding?
I went fast.
I know you went fast, but I figured you guys.
I give myself one barrier and one miss. If I placed in 8 of the rounds, I was good.
You were good, huh? That was your man. That's and I love like what we were talking about before here, Speed. There is nobody that looks at the math of this stuff as much as you still do, even, and looking at how this can all play out in your years here at the NFR and this situation tonight with the money, with the way things can fall. I mean, it's going to be good team roping.
You know, I teach for a living. I got 2 kids that love to rope, and I tried to figure out a way I could make a living with my website. And then the Speed Trainer, I developed it, and of teaching people the fundamentals and teaching my kids at the same time. I get paid to rope every day. So it's kind of a fairy tale. Walk outside. I've got an indoor arena that is covered, I guess, if you're in the West. The indoor is fully enclosed. It's got a roof over it.
Yeah.
But able to rope every day. And, you know, having a daughter compete for her first world title this year and getting wounded before she come here, very emotional young lady because she had to lay in the bed, couldn't practice, couldn't rope. And I got a son that's 17 that don't understand why he can't go up and down the road, craving it as bad as he can. But I'm trying to get him converted to being a header because he controls his own destination. He's a 9-heater, and he ropes very good, very smart, very good with a horse. But while we're doing this and he's home, I wanted to teach him to head, whereas he controls, and then whatever the best partner he gets to go with, that's the best way. But as a healer, my wife's told me I have to go with him, and I don't really want that journey again, to be honest with you.
But it was fun, like at the American Contenders and stuff last year. You know, we went out and saw you at a few of those. It was fun watching you guys rope together.
You know, winning the roping back there with my son when there was a roping 45 minutes from me at Hamilton, but the American qualifier was in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Cleveland, Tennessee is where we were.
I had to drive to Cleveland, Tennessee because that's what my son wanted to do, and we went over. And, you know, we come back fourth high call, and I rode over and I told him before he went, he says, you know, I said, now in the old days, Dad would roll the dice and try to win first. And we drove over and I backed in the box and I said, we're going to roll the dice and try to win first. And we were fortunate enough to make a really good run in the short round and win first. That was kind of a highlight for me of winning with my son at the Ropens. I wish the American could have went better.
Yeah.
I drawed a paint steer that didn't start and run hard and step left, and I was a little bit turned all the other ones. He actually done a good job of heading here. You know, he was supposed to rope with Kyler Kennedy in the 14, and Kyler got bumped right before we come out here, and I put my name down to heel for him. I said, I'm going to fill in. I don't want to heel for Unit 14. I'd rather watch.
Yep.
And I'm roping a couple times with different clients in the deals, but son, I'll pay the fees. Get you somebody else to rope with. No, he chose to rope with me, and out of the first two, we were 7 and 6. I pulled off some pretty good heel shots, and the third one, he gets out, lower steer, sticks him, Cal takes around one hop, and then kind of throws her head up and buck, and I lay it beside her.
Oh.
Everything that I teach every day. But I told my son, I'm not going to heel for 10 days before we rope out here.
Yeah.
I kind of need to practice the whole deal. Reaction, oh, Dad, you got it. Riding out the arena, he's just giggling and laughing.
Yeah.
I took us out of being one of the top 5 teams. I mean, we're allowed to be second or third high call if I heel that steer. Now, the steer did give me a funky hop, but nothing I should not have been able to overcome. But out of all my years in Vegas, walking out of the arena, missing for my son to be one of the top calls in the 14, have a chance to set him up next year, that one hurt a little bit.
That one stung a little bit.
I never missed a cow to win a world title. Fortunate enough to overcome all those obstacles. But, man, I tell you right now, there's a lot of scenarios, but T. Wade and Wesley control their destiny.
Yep.
Now, it's exciting to watch. There's a lot of guys that can go fast, but you got to realize when I come in heading, I made the finals in 88 heater, and I come home and told my dad I wanted to head. He didn't want no part of it. I was a healer back east, had won everything, 20-year-old kid. Yep. My father thought headers were dime a dozen. I mean, back east, the barrier's short. Everybody can head.
Yeah.
About west, the barrier's long, you know, and that was the big transition of I roped a dummy at the national finals in 1988 with all the headers, and nobody could reach to the end of the rope.
Was that kind of the deal that really
could throw standing flat foot, one swing, end of the rope. And I'm like, Dad, I got a chance to do something heading. Took me 4 years. He controlled all the head horses. One day I come with him that Virgil, Brad Culpepper, Virgil Minshew, guys you probably don't know, stayed at home, could heel really good. Brad Culpepper and myself, we had 3 healers and 1 header and a rig. And I told my dad I wanted to head for just a couple weeks. He looked at me now. He was the 1964 IPRA world champion. He said, son, I'm not that stupid, but pick whatever horse you want, take them. First weekend, I won 7 or 8 checks on a Palomino horse, pretty good looking. When I got up Monday morning, we got in daylight that Monday morning, got up. He sold that horse Monday at lunch. 4 weeks in a row, whatever horse I hauled off heading, he sold.
He's right out from
Monday morning that people would call, is that horse for sale? Yeah, he's for sale. I said, Dad, this ain't working out real good for me. He said, it's working out real good for me. Keep picking one and taking them. Like, you got to start buying some more. But he didn't want me to head. Did not.
I didn't know that.
But I healed, and I won everything back east healing. And as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid, they used to tell us when we show up the rope and I couldn't rope.
Yeah. You
can head, but you can't heel. There was no number system. But enter 4 or 5 times, I'd win every hole. And then it was a huge advantage whenever I learned to heel. My dad, we roped steers every day. He traded horses and roped all the time and learning to heel. And the way he taught me to catch was when he'd bring the steers in, they'd have 50 head of steers wrapped. If you missed, you push cows.
Oh, wow.
Heading or heeling. We had a whole lot of kids around there. You missed, you pulled cows. Hey, when it got down to the last cow, when the gates opened for the last cow, it looked like a bunch of Indians getting mounted, going pinning the cows, bring them up. So you learn to come in and take a high percentage shot. As long as you got a leg.
Just catch.
But now if it got down to the last 5 or 10, you could get wild.
Yeah.
Miss, wasn't the end of the world. You only had a few steers before you got back on your horse. But that was the way he taught me to be able to catch, ride your horse, get in a position, and catch. Mm-hmm. You got to practice catching. Yep. My deal, when people come to the house, first thing I do is high teamer, 11 seconds to win the roping. Because there's a total different way to practice to be 11, 9, 7, 5. Sometimes you got to go fast. And the worst thing I tell these people that are very successful, they have 20 head of the perfect steers. Terrible way to practice. Mm-hmm. Because you name the last time you went to a roping and you run 4 perfect steers.
Never.
You got to have steers that go left. You got to have steers that go right. You got to have steers that are slow. So many people don't want to run a slow cow. When you draw a slow one behind a World Series barrier, you're on top of them. Mm-hmm. So many people won't run that cow in the practice pen. You got to run the cow that's going to take you out of the roping. When you come here, you've got to practice on the cow that's going to take you out of the roping. Your weakest link is the cow you've got to practice on. You got to have a variety in the practice pen.
That was that you led right into where I was going to take the end of this conversation. Was for these guys and gals here, we've got the 8 roping going on here today. That is a great point. Yeah, we've got to figure out how to catch. We've got to learn it, but we've got to work on those weaknesses big time.
You cannot believe at how many people, when I get them on the speed trainer, do not realize they use the bridle reins for balance. They pull on the reins, and they always want to change bridles. I got tired of watching my own kids ride the bridle reins. I'd have to fix their horses. I'm like, and, you know, I developed a way to be able to teach people to ride better. Mm-hmm. You know, and you take and put it in your basement, you're able to practice using your legs. Team ropers as a whole, fixing somebody roping is not hard. It's all math, all angles. Teaching people to be able to ride and control their horse using their feet and their hands, that's the name of the game. And that's how you get better, is learn to control your horse, use your feet, use your left hand correctly. Mm-hmm. Man, that is a weakness all the way up the chain.
All the way up.
All the way up. You know, when Dustin come to my house going fast, I cut his rope off where he only had 1 coil.
Just to make him.
I want you to use your horse to be 3. I don't want you just to duck and reach.
Yeah, we know you can throw your whole rope.
Dustin's ability with his rope is unbelievable. Unreal. Watching him do it time after time after time in the practice pen.
He's another one.
The range he has with his rope, but his math's got to change when he gets to the Thomas and Mack, and he's got to learn to use his horse. Driggers did it. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of conversations with Driggers. Driggers done a great job in the past few years. Yep. They started out bad. Junior's been a little under the weather. Hadn't reacted. They haven't drawed good to begin with, and then trying to overcome it becomes. Yep. I mean, I can say that I am a very expert in having a bad first round and having to overcome it. Yep. But the things that happened to me in the first round wouldn't happen for 364 days in the year. Yeah. And I'd come to national finals and something would happen. I'd be like, oh my. Just freaky things happened to me. And then we had to go fast. Yeah. And that kind of fit into our play.
Fits your deal.
But I'd much rather go try to be 4 every night than have to try to be 3 every night. But, man, the team roping as a whole is fun to watch because all 15 guys here, they can be 3. Huh. And I know we're not supposed to talk about stuff, but I thought Coleman and Logan got robbed. The crossfire rule has changed this year to, I am not even sure what is a crossfire, because I talked to Driggers. He's a team roping director. You tried to make it where it was easier to call, and now it's become even tougher, grayer area of interpretation. But, you know, it happens so fast.
That's and my the thing. Whole point, it's so tough to call that.
the call at Houston, the call at Austin. My whole point that I've argued, that is a tough call on a flagger. Not blaming the flagger 100% because it's a judgment call when it happens in your eyes, and you can line the top 15 up and they'd all call different opinions.
Especially live speed.
We have to have a challenge flag. We've got to be able to challenge a call for them to see it in slow motion. Every professional sport has a challenge call. When is rodeo going to step up and give the Cowboys the opportunity, hey, I want this a second look. And if y'all come to the same decision, fine. There is too much money on the line, and you got to, they say you're taking the call out of the judge. I guarantee if you line the judges up and give them a vote, they want to make the right call.
Absolutely.
There is not a judge out there that wants to rob the Cowboy.
Agreed.
But they got to make calls, and it's hard. That happened fast.
Real fast.
I mean, that can go either way.
Yep.
I mean, I think you can call it, you can lay a point to argue either way.
Yep. Agreed.
But
100%. And watching it full speed is different because and we're all watching it from a great camera angle full speed. And then we get to go back it off. There's not these flaggers, whether it be here, whether it be at the Thomas and Mack, I mean, there's not a flagger in the business that is trying to take the run away from you.
The way it's interpreted now is the header's got to be pulling him. He can swing a little, but they pulling. And what the rule needs to be, and I've argued this since I was a healer. If you stick it on the cow's head and he turns on his own, he breaks stride and turns, he should be legal. Because that's where it gets you in trouble when you're roping older cows. When you stick it on their head, your horse has to be athletic enough, and that's why a lot of guys here's horses front end go back. They're trying to get the cow legal faster.
Yep. Get them, yep.
But if the cow checks and follows, you got to go 3-4 hops now. And so that's the whole thing they were trying to get. If the cow's being pulled and changed direction, well, now they're heeling them swinging into it.
Yeah.
Now all year long they're letting them swing into it. That's why I said Coleman and Logan's deal, man,
tough.
To be etched in stone for what it was. We could have had 2 world records that could stand for a long time. Happened at the Thomas and Mack. Calf got up.
Yep.
Got flagged out for crossfire. But all I'm saying on the team roping, challenge, judges look at it. They make the same call. More power to you. But that's no different than football or all the other sports. They got challenges after getting so many calls wrong. And with instant replay, the whole world seeing was it right or wrong.
Yep, I agree. Well, I tell you what, Speed, I love chatting with you. There's nobody that breaks the sport down like you do. Ever since I roped with you and Rich at Pendleton at a clinic, and I don't even know what year it was, and it's out there at that covered arena. You remember it was like 97 or 98 or something when the circuit finals out there. You and Rich, it was a cold rascal. I drove in a blizzard from western Montana down there, but I sure appreciate you coming up here. Love your opinion on this stuff. Love how you break these things down, and you are 100% right. Tonight could be a shakeup, could be just a small, easy run for a world title. I don't know.
You know, I feel like it's a fairy tale. I get paid to do something I spent my whole life doing, breaking down and helping other people with their roping. So that is a fortunate deal, and I was able to raise my kids doing it. And, you know, a lot of people talk about it. One thing I want to talk about on parents that get mad at their kids when they do wrong. That's the last thing in the world you need to be hollering and screaming. I've had a few issues. My kids have never hollered at them when they do wrong, bad. We talk about it, and we'll go watch the video. But to have the passion to rope and to learn to rope, you know what I'm talking about. It's all about math and angles, and there's some that's going to play in night. And, you know, I wish a lot of guys a lot of pressure, a lot of success tonight. But T. Wade and Wesley control their destination. Hopefully draw a steer makes it easy. But I'll tell you right now, if T. Wade draws a runner, and he's got to use his ability, I'm going to say he's going to feel better about that than drawing the poodle that he just got to go catch.
Yep.
but we'll find out soon.
We will find out. Well, everybody, thanks to all of you for hanging out. 8-time world champion Speed Williams right here. Guys and gals, thanks for tuning in to the replay each and every day. Folks, we've got the number 8 Apex finale going on right here. Yesterday, we had the biggest roping in history. We paid out $400,000 to the winners of that one. We're going to be doing it again here in just a little bit. And once again, make sure you tune in here. We've got one more day of this action. It is the final round of the National Finals Rodeo, but we got one more day of the Area World Series of Team Roping finale. On behalf of Speed Williams, I'm Dru Stew. We will see you at the replay on our final episode here in a little bit.